Hello, everyone. What an honor it is to celebrate your success and welcome you into the National Honor Society. Thank you to Ms. Penta for this opportunity. I would like to share with you my journey of hard work and perseverance that ultimately led to creating a dream job for myself. The big takeaway here, always believe in your vision. I had a bit of an unconventional academic path. School didn't come easy for me. In fact, I struggled all throughout elementary, middle, and high school. I was not a bad student. I just had a different way of learning and retaining information. I was very much a visual learner, which would later benefit me in my professional life. As I finished up my junior year at Putnam Valley High School, I decided to apply to an alternative program called Walkabout. Walkabout was a full-year program for college-bound seniors to help build confidence, a sense of direction, and skills for college and life. Putnam Valley funded one student from our grade, and I was that one lucky student. I left Putnam Valley High School after 12 years with my peers to attend a program with 54 strangers from all over Putnam and Westchester County. A challenge that would for sure take me out of my comfort zone and help give me a sense of direction in life. Walkabout helped me explore career options through internships and community service. I ended up with an internship at Bosse's Walden School working with severely disabled children. I enjoyed my time there so much that I ended up at Manhattanville College to pursue a career in special education. As someone who struggled in school, I decided that I wanted to go into education to help others. I was accepted into a graduate program that allowed me to chip away at my master's in education and special education while working on my bachelor's in English and a minor in psychology. As I finished up my junior year of college, I felt very unfulfilled. I enjoyed my English and art classes way more than I did my education classes. My interests were shifting as I was learning more about myself, my strengths, and what I truly wanted in life. The more I thought about a career in education, the less I could envision myself as a teacher. I started to feel anxious about student teaching and began rethinking my career path. I felt I had just wasted so much time and money on a degree that I no longer wanted to complete. I was 20 years old and always had a strong interest in fashion, but had no prior experience. I started to see myself working in fashion, which became a big piece of the puzzle. If you can see it, you can do anything, but you have to believe in yourself. I just had spent the last 3 years studying education, and everything I did outside of school pertained to my degree in education. My grandmother once told me, if you can write, you can do anything. Her words of wisdom stuck with me and is what gave me the courage to follow my dreams. It all happened very fast. I withdrew from my master's and was able to graduate with my bachelor's in English and a minor in psychology. I remember the doubts, the comments, what are you going to do with a British literature degree? Who is going to hire you? But I kept pushing forward and continued to believe in my plan. Since I was a good writer, I started to apply for jobs in editorial, taking anything that came my way. I knew I had to start somewhere. Right out of college, I wrote for fashion blogs and local newspapers. The jobs were unpaid, but it was the experience that I needed to build my resume. I realized that working in the field was the best form of education. After 4 months of unpaid work, I knew I had to make moves. I didn't really know what the fashion industry had to offer in terms of jobs, but I knew there was a place for me. The only way to figure out what opportunities were available was to put myself out there, which was terrifying, but also exhilarating. I started networking with anyone that had any connection to the industry. Interview after interview, failure after failure, I kept trying. Interviewing is like exercising a muscle. The more you do it, the stronger you get. Finally, someone knew someone at Ralph Lauren. I went in for a total of 8 interviews, and on the last interview, I landed a job as the assistant merchandiser for South America. It was a temporary job, filling in for someone on maternity leave, but it was a start that would help me find my way into what I love and do now. I spent the next 8 months working in a role that was completely new to me, and it wasn't easy. The language, the computer programs, the corporate environment, I was starting from square one. But every day I showed up and went above and beyond what was asked of me. I taught myself how to use Excel, how to create presentations for my boss. I stayed late and worked well beyond my 40 hours a week. Never underestimate the power of hard work. Part of this job required me to take photos of clothes and accessories in the Ralph Lauren showroom. Stepping into the showroom was like stepping into an alternate universe. They were spackling, painting, and listening to music while playing with clothes. It looked like a dream. It was through this temporary job that I learned about an industry called visual merchandising. I knew immediately that this was what I wanted to do, and I had to figure out how to get there. Visual merchandising is the way in which we display product. It's an art, and it's what attracts customers to buy. I had finally found something that I wanted to do. As my temporary job came to an end, my boss asked me where I saw myself next. I told him that I wanted to work in visual merchandising. He told me that I would have to go into retail since I had no experience in the field. He set me up with 2 interviews. One was with the head of showroom design at Ralph Lauren, and the other was working for Club Monaco as a store experience manager at a mall. The interview with the head of showroom design was so out of my league, but I went anyway to pick his brain about the industry. One of the best pieces of advice I was ever given was this: advice is free. This always stuck with me because anytime I interviewed or had the opportunity to be face-to-face with an executive or someone my senior, I asked questions. It never hurts. I ended up getting the job as the store experience manager for Club Monaco at the Westchester Mall. I thought to myself, I'm a college graduate, I worked in corporate, and now I'm working at a mall. Looking back on this, I realized that sometimes in order to move forward, you have to take a few steps back. It was at this job that I learned everything about creating beautiful spaces. I learned about color stories and outfitting, styling mannequins, installing window installations, how to orchestrate a store opening and a store closing. I had a wonderful boss who took me under his wing and believed in me. In less than 1 year, I was promoted and transferred to New York City to open up the global flagship store on 5th Avenue. It was a dream come true. My dad always says, you have to walk before you run, and that I did. And once I got to Manhattan, it was only up from there. After just a few years, I finally got a job in showroom design working along fashion designer Ellie Tahari. 2 years later, I landed a job as a visual merchandiser working for one of the most prestigious jewelry companies in the world that allow me to travel all over the US. Fast forward to just a few years later, I took all of the skills that I learned in the workplace and applied them to my own life. I decided that it was time to open my own store. I left my job with Cartier, started to collect vintage clothes, and began selling them out of my apartment. I started marketing them on Instagram and took private appointments in my tiny space. As I outgrew the city, I knew I had to move up north if I wanted to make this into a reality. Last year, despite the global pandemic, I opened up my very own vintage clothing store in Cold Spring, New York, called Damn Aged Vintage. I always had an interest in vintage clothing, but it was the skills that I learned in each job that gave me the tools and confidence to open up my very own space. Remember, you can do anything you want if you put your mind to it. You just have to believe in yourself. Thank you for this opportunity to share my story. I wish all of you the very best on your future endeavors. Stay true to yourself, your vision. Work hard because someone is always watching. And don't ever settle for anything less than what you want. Good luck, everyone, and congratulations.